Just one day after a deadly shooting, and this apartment complex is under scrutiny by the city for poor living conditions. I'm Mark Jenkins. I'll have that story coming up. Well, Jerry, the jury just broke for the evening, and they've seen everything from DNA evidence to phone records. But probably the most interesting part of today's testimony, when the accused killer's ex-girlfriend took the stand. Witnesses saw Baker leaving the pool area last night carrying his rifle. He had to have walked about 65 yards back to his apartment, and when authorities arrived, he was barricaded inside. Bay County authorities pulled more than 20 people out of the water. Take a look at why. I want to get out of your way. Look at this choppy water out here, just ideal rip current conditions. Before getting into the water, you have to walk 100 feet across this dock. Believe me, you go from a standstill to nearly 420 miles an hour. Just a matter of seconds. It's hard not to scream like a girl. You're looking at a lean, mean, battery-operated machine. You want to talk about saving gas? This is the method that many residents could choose to use. One vehicle was in the parking lot before the storm. When the tornado came through, it sent this truck flying, spinning through the air, and landing through this home. Builders say it's just as strong as plywood, at half the price. She was reportedly so incoherent, she couldn't even tell teachers what class she was supposed to be in. Put the shingles back on, and that's why it gets to be so expensive. A Marietta woman is shot to death in her own apartment this morning, and the shooter in the hospital. I'm Mark Jenkins. I'll have the story coming up tonight on News 13. Jerry, police believe 43-year-old Randall Barnes was playing with a gun when it accidentally went off. When Barnes realized he shot someone, he reportedly turned the gun on himself. 31-year-old Corrine Monisha Spates hosted a party with 3 neighbors at her apartment.
We were playing cards, drinking, and all of a sudden the guy pulled a gun.
Burton Hunter says he was sitting across the table from who police identify as the gunman, 43-year-old Randall Wayne Barnes.
And I told him, man, put the gun away before I can even get to him. He shot the gun, and I ran out and called 911.
Police say Barnes then shot himself when he realized what he did.
He had to just go off deep end because there wasn't no arguing, wasn't nothing. Everything was going nice.
Authorities found Spates and Barnes lying on the floor, both with gunshot wounds to the head. Hunter was surprised at what happened. He says the two were friends.
I don't think he knew that gun was off of safety, but I'm not sure everybody got their own opinion. But for me, myself, and my heart, I don't think he meant to shoot her.
Now, authorities say Spates has children. Fortunately, they weren't at the apartment when the shooting happened. As for the gunman, police expect Barnes to survive. He's in critical condition at a Tallahassee hospital. Now, we're told that police were just called back out to the apartment. Barnes' car, which is still outside, has just been badly vandalized. The tires are slashed and the windows busted. Now, we're going to continue following this story. Stay tuned to News 13 and our web channel, WMBB.com, for the very latest details.
Mark Jenkins reporting tonight. Thank you, Mark.
Just one day after a deadly shooting, and this apartment complex is under scrutiny by the city for poor living conditions. I'm Mark Jenkins. I'll have that story coming up.
News 13's Mark Jenkins live in our studios now. And Mark, what happens if the complex doesn't clean up its act?
Well, Amy, if the Marietta Gardens management doesn't make big changes soon, it could lose its Section 8 housing contract. That's a major concern for tenants who rely on the cheaper rent.
I have no income.
A renter for 5 years, Chris Odom is well aware of the dangers that surround him.
That bag right there. It's a cocaine bag.
Odom's apartment building faces a fence where residents dump their trash. His neighbor shot in the early morning.
Terrible news to have to tell my kids that right next door, somebody that they talked to, got killed.
Police say 43-year-old Randall Barnes accidentally shot and killed 31-year-old Corrine Monisha Spates inside her apartment. Barnes reportedly turned the gun on himself. He remains hospitalized.
This is a high crime area. It's draining the resources of the city.
City manager Jim Dean gave management a to-do list 3 months ago, demanding improved lighting, fencing, video surveillance, and security.
They have not made any progress or done anything to attempt to clean up and to provide additional security.
Last year, police were called to the facility more than 250 times in 7 months. Nearly 20% of those calls, major crimes. Police say the complex is also a haven for criminals on the run. In December, 3 suspects from a home invasion and murder found here. The city manager says there used to be a police substation located on the property. The last time a law enforcement officer worked here, February 2007. Yet limited security is a risk these tenants are willing to take. Their alternatives are few.
I'm not out here by choice. I have to have some place to live. And if I can't find a job building houses, and I have no income, I do what I got to do to feed my kids.
The owner of the Mariana Gardens Apartments, Lawrence Bruskin, lives in New Jersey. Now, I spoke to him over the phone. He depends on the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development for Section 8 funding. But Bruskin says HUD does not pay enough for security improvements.
Many kids dream about one day becoming a jet pilot. The same is true for Lieutenant Colonel Rob Skelton.
Grew up around airplanes. My granddad flew, and had the opportunity to go for a flight with my dad when I was a young middle schooler, and was just fascinated by airplanes. And then it's just an honor and a incredible privilege to be able to do that now for the Air Force.
Skelton flies the number 7 jet for the U.S. Thunderbirds. He's the squadron's second in command and has logged more than 3,300 hours in the cockpit, including 1,900 hours in the F-16, which is what we're flying today. After I slipped into a flight suit, G-suit, and was deemed medically safe to fly, I was just steps away from my dream. As you stand on the flight deck in your gear, you can't help but feel like a superhero, or even a movie star. But no matter how many times you watch Top Gun, nothing can prepare you for riding in a high-performance jet.
240, 250 knots, 270 knots. Take a good deep breath, Mark. We're going up here in just a second. Here we go, going up. And believe me, you go from a standstill to nearly 420 miles an hour. Just a matter of seconds. It's hard not to scream like a girl.
From takeoff, Lieutenant Colonel Skelton then showed me some of the maneuvers the Thunderbirds do in their program. From a big upside-down loop to a barrel roll, and if that wasn't enough, he let me hang out for a few.
Nice.
Then it came time for the big one.
Okay, Mark, I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're at the point where we can probably go ahead and get ready to pull 9 Gs. All right.
9 Gs is 9 times the force of gravity.
And I'm going to accelerate us out to about 450 to 500 miles an hour.
On land, you feel 1 G. At 9 Gs, it's like having 9 times your body weight laying on top of you. Think of it like getting the Heimlich from Godzilla.
Good deep breath. Here we go. To the left. 9 Gs. All right, Mark. How you feeling?
Oh, man, almost lost there for a second, but it was good. Oh, my gosh. I think I just swallowed my lips.
But unfortunately, I wasn't good. In the next few minutes, I did some talking to a bag.
Tell you what, 9 G's is serious.
It's the big boys game, that's for sure.
20 minutes later, with a full bag and a heavy heart, I returned to land. With added respect for all fighter pilots, their squads, their machines, and the freedom they share with all Americans. I was grateful for the experience, one I'll cherish for the rest of my life. Mark Jenkins, News 13, on your side.